Hi everyone, this is Sandy Reese with Stampacrew.com. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. Thanks for joining me today. Today I have an awesome 4th of July sampler project. It's a 12 by 12. It will fit in your 12 by 12 frame, and it just celebrates everything patriotic. So, did I get a piece of paper? I'll get one in a minute. Okay. I think I have everything ready. So we have 4 different squares in this sampler. So we have a large, we have a long, and then we have 2 smaller. So we're going to do each of the squares and then we'll put it all together. So let's start with our most complicated square. We've got a 5 3/4 by 5 3/4. And then I took a piece of white. This is Night of Navy. This is white, and it is 5 1/2 by 5 1/2. I will post all these measurements on my blog, so you don't have to worry about it. Now I ran this through the Smooth Sailing embossing folder. And then I took a piece of designer paper. This is from the, I had this written down somewhere. Thoughtful Journey. That's it, Thoughtful Journey. So I embossed this with the same embossing folder, but what I'm going to do is just cut off where the water ends. I just wanted the water look, and I'm going to cut that boat off. I'm not going to worry about it because I'm going to put another boat on top, and I'm just kind of cut along that top wave, and then we're going to adhere this to the white. Okay. I'm going to adhere that right there. All right, then on a piece of scrap white, I stamped the boat. I stamped the outline in Memento, and then I stamped the sail with Real Red and the boat with Night of Navy. And you can die cut this. There's a die that cuts this out, but I'm just going to go ahead and trim it out with scissors while I'm talking to you. Now this was a sampler class we did at Super Saturday. We did 2 samplers. We did a summer sampler and a 4th of July. They were 2 summer samplers, but I did one 4th of July, and then I did one that was more of a kind of a beachy theme. So that, if I will be doing a video on that as well. But I want to get this one out in time in case you want to make something similar for your 4th of July event, or just to decorate your home. I had not changed my samplers and my decor out in since like Easter, and everybody kept commenting on it when they came over. So the other day I finally switched everything out because, oh my gosh, I had an Easter, there might have been a Valentine's, I don't know. All right, so we're going to pop up the boat here on the waves. I think before I pop up the boat though, I'm going to adhere this while it's still flat and easy to glue down. I normally use all the same measurements on my samplers in different, different configurations, but I don't normally stray too far outside the box. I like to keep it consistent so it's easy for everybody to do. And I'm going to glue that boat right on top of the embossed boat. And I'm going to grab, this is from the Smooth Sailing. I've got the bird, and I think I'm going to do it in black though. I think pardon my arm. Grab some Memento ink. Stamp one off. Okay, we're going to just stamp. We've got a few embossed birds in the background, but I'm just going to stamp a couple little birds right there. And, oh, I was going to, let's grab our Balmy Blue and the blending brush. And we're going to very lightly just do a little bit of color in the sky. Not much, just a little. I'm trying to avoid the clouds. You could do this before you put your boat on, just to add a little bit of color in there. It's not quite so white. All right, now that goes with a different panel. Now I've die cut a piece. This is part of our new, this is a new glimmer paper that's coming out with the holiday catalog. Now I've got a sneak peek because it's part of a Christmas set. And it's really cloud cover, but it looks silver. So I'm super excited about that. So I'm using a bit of that. And then I am using this stamp set. This is now on the last chance list, if it's still there. Round We Go, perfect for 4th of July. I'm really gonna miss it. I'm gonna hold on to it. It's $45 for the bundle. But I'm going to use a Time to Celebrate, and then I'm going to use Ahoy from the Sunrise Sailing. So on this one, since it's the boat, we're going to use the Ahoy. I'm going to stamp it to the left on my banner. And this banner is from the Stylish Shapes dies. And I cut the 2 sizes of banner, and then we're going to just trim off the edge. I'm just grabbing my mini paper trimmer here. Let's just cut off that other flag, and we're going to pop this up as well. 1, 2, we'll just grab 3. I'm going to put this right on the edge. All right, and then last step, I've got a little piece of this silver trim, and where are my ribbon scissors? I have got a huge pile of stuff here that's precarious that I've got to clean up. I was just kind of waiting until I finished all my baskets and videos up. Okay, I'm gonna grab glue dot. Put a glue dot on top of that ribbon right there. Peel it off, fold it up, make sure it doesn't stick out. I'm gonna slide this right under the top of our, we got a dimensional there, right under our sailboat. So it looks kind of like a little flag coming out of the sailboat. I'll use that in a minute. Okay, so that is number 1. Now I am going to embellish. We're going to do that at the end after we get everything glued on. All right, so that's panel 1. Let's do this next panel. I've used some of that same designer paper that I used on that. I used a sheet, and then this was another piece. So this square is 2 3/4 square, and then the designer paper is 2 1/2 square. And then we've used our Sweetest Star Punch. And I have another little banner that we're going to do Time to Celebrate on. I need to flip that this way. Okay, we'll use Real Red once again. Time to Celebrate, hopefully right in the center. Close enough. So we're done with our red ink. And we're going to put this up on top of the star. I'm looking for my large dimensionals that I cannot seem to keep track of. They just kind of blend into everything on my desk. Okay. We're going to just pop this up right across our star. That's another one done. Some of them can be nice and easy. All right, we'll do our other small one. So I have white and navy, and this is the same dimensions is the last one I did. Then I cut these two little fireworks out of, now I did use some retired red glimmer paper. And then this is the new cloud covered glimmer paper. Sometimes, you know, with 4th of July, you just gotta use some retired stuff because it's more important to have our fireworks, you know, than not. So I'm just gonna glue those two on. We're gonna do some more embellishing. So that one is done. Now, we're going to do our big long one. And I've used some of this Nests of Winter with the birds designer paper. This is one that has the wood grain on it. And the kind of little willow pattern on the back. So this measurement, I've got my grid paper turned upside down, I think is 8 3/4 by 2 3/4. So this designer paper is 2.5 by 8.5. I don't usually do one that goes the whole width of our sampler, but I used the new big alphabet die, and I can't think of the name of it right now. I'll post it on the supplies, but I cut out this big July sentiment out of here. I'm going to pop this up. J-U-L-Y. And then what I did, I needed a 4, but we didn't have a 4, it's just letters, not numbers. So I'm going to cut off this one H, the bottom of the H right there, and make it into a 4. Whoop, I gotta go on the back. Okay. Now, I'm just going to go ahead and cut this out. So what I did, I wanted July 4th, TH. You don't have to. You could just do July 4 or 4 July, whatever you want to do. But I wanted a little TH, so I got out the Layered Thoughts stamp set. It has 2 THs to get, well, 3 actually. But I just stamped up the beginning of the thinking right here with navy. I do have a thank you, but that's a little bigger than I wanted. I wanted just a small one to kind of go up there in the corner. So I'm going to cut out these separately, only because my other letters are separate. And so I wanted these to be separate as well, just to have a little continuity in our project. All right. If you guys have 4th of July plans, post them here. We have all of our kids coming home, so they'll all be here, and the 2 grandchildren for the 4th of July. And then I just wish it wasn't so hot. And then for July 5th, we're all going over to Teddy's other grandparents' house for a pool party for his 1st birthday. That way we can all celebrate with Teddy. Very excited. And I got him a water table. He's standing up, but this water table had like a little lower drawer that pulls out. That could be a pool or a sandbox or it's very shallow, so he could sit in there and play with the water, or it could just store toys. And then I got him a little cover and a little mat to put out on the deck to protect his little baby feet. Okay, so let's assemble this. Let's get our July. Now, this has got to be pretty close together because these are big letters. J. Very close together. U. I am a big believer in eyeballing things, but I laid these all out ahead of time but when I designed the sampler, so I knew how close they were going to have to be. Okay, come on. If we put them close enough together, that gives us a little bit of extra space between the July and the number 4. Right about there. And then we can add our TH. So this is pretty narrow. I'm going to grab some of my white dimensionals. I'm just going to cut a couple really thin strips. I'm trying to think of the word. Thin strips to put on the T and the H. I need one more. Okay. Whoop, I'll lose my H. Okay. Put it just down from the top, T and H. And it's okay if it goes out just a little bit. Okay, so those are 4 panels. So let me grab, we're going to use white, which I didn't grab. I'm going to grab a piece of we have this new 12 by 12 thick white cardstock. So this is the one I'm going to use. And I've cut a couple pieces out of some of our chipboard trim. And these are 1 5/8 by 1 5/8, and I've adhered them together to give me kind of a guide where I can place my sampler pieces. So we're going to start with our big one down here in the bottom right corner. Okay. I'm just going to kind of lay them in lightly. So if I need to adjust, they won't be stuck too strongly. What's the word I'm trying to say? Okay, and now we're going to do our long one right up at the top. Okay. Gently place that down. And then we're going to come around and do this corner and this side. So at this point, I can just butt that up next to that panel, and then the same here. Just butt them up next to the edges there. We're going to do our fireworks down in this corner. Gently, and then we've got our star. And we're just going to eyeball this right in the center of these 2. All right, let's take that out and see if everything looks pretty straight. I think that looks good. We can give it a good press. And now we're going to do some embellishing. And I had pegged these, the iridescent faceted gems. They're online, but they are super sparkly, and they have almost like a little star or firework look to them, kind of cut into the gem, so that hence faceted, like a diamond. So that's why I chose these. So we're going to just bling up everything we can find. We're going to do one here. We'll do one there. Let's grab. I'm going to do a big one there. Let's do a small and a large. And do one large. Maybe I'll do it over there. I don't know. And then large. a small. Maybe we'll do a couple smalls there. Scooch that one up. And I think I'm probably good. I could do a little bit more if I wanted, but I think that's enough. Sometimes you gotta stop while you're ahead. So that is our gorgeous 4th of July sampler. I hope you enjoyed it. Would love to see if you make a sampler, what you make. And don't forget that when you spend $50 or more before tax and shipping online with me, I am going to send you a kit of that month's card classes projects for free. So please click subscribe so you don't miss out on future videos, and I will see you all soon. All right, bye-bye.